Hey everyone, today is September 14th, 2023, and you may have seen my videos up here at the top of East Mountain at the Vermont Lyndonville abandoned radar station. So, this place here, we filmed it, made a really long video when it was foggy out, thorough through every building. It wasn't cut up or anything. Today I tried to make a more simplified video in the sunshine, going in some of the more interesting buildings, showing more interesting stuff. Well, now I'm going to make just a vlog video showing the auto road. It's very beautiful. The trees are so healthy up here. Everything's so wet, mossy. Smells real strong of pine. Yeah, it's very cool up here. And I actually found two buildings we didn't know were here last time because it was so foggy. You wouldn't even be able to see those towers in front of us last time we were here. It was just so foggy. Today it's all clear, much more windy. It was like a wind tunnel going down the staircase of that big tower. That big tower is probably the equivalent of what? 6 floors, maybe more, because they got double high ceilings in all the levels. Gotta be careful up here. There's a few spots in the road. There's nails everywhere because someone had a fire there burning like studded walls. I mean wall studs, so all the nails are left over from it. So we got all these buildings here, and this is not the auto road. The auto road is back the way I came. Just want to show a couple of them though. The buildings. To my left there's a little paved road. Building's completely gone. It's just a foundation. Right here to the right there's a giant tank in the woods. If you can see it, it's very grown in. That's because they use heating oil for all these buildings back in the day. See another big tank right here from heating oil. Or maybe it was to run generators, both most likely. So this entire property here is now privately owned, but there's nothing saying we can't be here. I just got to be very careful right now because there's a piece of sheet metal I don't want to run over. I got to back up down the road again. Hopefully I don't run it over. No, I think I'm okay. I'm going to hear it if I hit it. No, I'm good. So this entire place was bought not too long ago, I found out, and the owner wanted to make it into a wind farm. I think it might be for sale again, actually, but because they said it's very unlikely to ever be bought because it would take such a large amount of money to tear this stuff down. Because these buildings, they're falling apart, but they're very structural. They wouldn't come down very easily. The 3 smaller towers are very dangerous to be inside. The floors are just falling apart, but the 2 bigger towers, they're very sound as of now. And here we go down the auto road. Like another minute down the mountain, there's another random building that's separate from all this for some reason. And at the bottom is the base camp. We'll drive through that once we get down there. But this road, for being abandoned since 1964 when it closed, I imagine they probably maintained certain things or maybe kept an eye on it for a while beyond that. They usually do with a lot of things. But the road's in great condition. Look at it. It hasn't been paved since the 60s. Considering that, it's in great shape. Look, it's even got a guardrail that's very intact. But this road's very narrow, so you have to be careful if someone else came. Right there, that's the building I was talking about, that little driveway. See that there's power lines above us. So this place, I think it had one central power generating place, and I'm downshifting now to save the brakes. We got a couple miles of pretty steep downhill now. Usually when you're off-roading, the downhill vehicle usually has the right of way, but still, I don't want to encounter anyone on this road. It's very tight. There's a couple spots that you can pull over, but they're few and far between. We just got to make it a couple miles, and I don't think we'll see anyone. We didn't see anyone up here today. We didn't see anyone last time, and last time we actually lingered up there for 2 hours. I was only here maybe a half an hour today, just getting a few quick shots on a nice sunny day. I did see a guy on a bicycle today, though, at the base camp, just riding through. So we got from the very top of the mountain where we just started, it's about 10 miles to get into town, which is a very small town. It's just a couple houses if you even want to call it town. It's weird that these roads are paved because all the surrounding areas are all dirt road towns, it seems. Very pretty here, all the moss, because it's always up in the clouds, always foggy, 3,400 feet, the top of that mountain. I can tell sometimes water goes down this road a whole ton, the way leaves and stuff are arranged. It's 54 degrees out right now. Very nice. This road is very pretty. Look how narrow it is. The leaves are all falling off for the winter. Up at the top there, that place must get extremely cold in the winter. Like each building up there has a 10,000 gallon heating oil tank. Huge tanks to heat those buildings. Myself, if I did not use a wood stove, I'd probably go through maybe 800 gallons in a season at the most. Up there, those buildings are huge. I wonder how well insulated they were. There's insulation all over the ground up there. But up there, it looked like they were heated with steam or hot water, which actually is way more efficient. And the way they were heating those buildings, they may have had central systems. Central boilers. Every building seems to have like an external boiler building. That's how it seems. That boilers were outside the building and they were piped in. That's how it seems to be. We had a little flat spot. Now we got to downshift again so we don't burn up the brakes. Got a lot of debris in the road from water going down here. We do finally have a couple dry days in the forecast. Next week's going to be cool and rainy again. Very rainy patterns this year. That might mean a lot of snow in the winter. In a place like this, if the bottom of the mountain is forecasted like a foot of snow, they'd probably get double or triple up there at the top. That is a very beautiful property and this really nice road. This road's in very good shape. It just needs to have some trimming done to it. This place is really nice. I'm surprised that since the place keeps going up for sale, no one ever tried to buy it like the state or something. Because it's got a beautiful auto road. It would make a nice park or something. Even if the auto road wasn't open to vehicles. But this would be a multi-million-dollar mess to clean up. Although a lot of that, they wouldn't even have to dispose of it. It's all scrap. Most of those buildings are made of metal, scrap. Concrete's just at the bottom. 2 of the towers have reinforced concrete floors to an extent, but it's mostly just sheet metal floors that are just rusting right through. At no time am I going over 20 miles an hour. I'm just trying to keep it nice and slow in here in case of another vehicle. Although I don't think we'll see one, but you can tell a good amount of people come up here, probably at night to party, most likely. Down here at the bottom, there's going to be a washout area. So they tried to block this road off originally when they abandoned it, but people quickly made a road going around the blockade, and now the beavers have flooded the temporary go-around road. So just give it some time. This road might be completely impassable to anybody if the beavers are successful flooding that road deeper and deeper. I was just here 4 days ago in the fog, came back today for some better footage, and yeah, the beavers noticeably made it deeper already. Now that we're on this big straightaway, I think this is where the flood is at the bottom. Then we might be good. I see something glimmering up there. It might be another vehicle coming towards me, and if it is, thankfully there's a pull-in up here right before the flood I think we're approaching. think I see something glimmering. Is it someone's windshield or something? There was no one at the top, so they're probably coming this way if there is something. What am I seeing? Yeah, there's somebody in the road. Is it? Yeah, it's a motorcycle. Is this guy coming up? Because I can pull over. This is it. Yeah, he's getting back on. We'll just go into neutral for a minute. I think he's with someone too. Can I hear? Is there someone with him? Maybe not. Let's continue, I guess. I knew I could see something glimmering. Alright, here's the flooded road. You see where they blocked it off right above the culvert pipe with that gigantic tank, which that tank's moved very recently. I got out last time and looked at it. Someone pushed it or winched it. It moved somehow. And see, this is from the beavers, all this flood right here, which is only getting deeper. Alright, coming back up here onto the asphalt. Boom. And we're up. And now there's a bunch of road that's got water trickling down it. It probably does this for a while. This is all groundwater. It didn't rain today or anything. And then it quickly opens up very wide, the road, because to the right, they're logging in here. This is active logging right there to the right. And right here to the left is the base camp. Got a fenced in area. That was probably a generator with the barbed wire. There's a gymnasium in here. There's an auto repair shop with the big hole in the floor where you'd get under to work on the cars. There's multiple housing buildings, a giant cafeteria building, generator building, multiple boiler buildings, multiple foundations from buildings that were burned down over the years. As recently as 2021, somebody burned down one of the buildings. And here we are pulling in. There's a lot of apple trees, apples all over the ground, fresh apples you can just pick off and eat. All over the place. These are the housing buildings. The building with the gym is very far into the left, but that's actually in very good shape. Doesn't seem to be leaking much at all. Big building here was the cafeteria. Look at all the apples all over the ground. And they're not crab apples, they're good apples you can just pick. Yeah, this right here was the repair building, garage. Across the road is a boiler building, maybe a generator house, with a bunch of numerous foundations along the way. Thankfully, at the moment, they're not logging up here actively. A couple miles down the road they are, and we're probably gonna pass it again. A log trailer, full. Ready to go. You see, it's still paved. I don't know if this road went out to all the way paved. It probably did. Like certain areas, it looks just like a dirt road now, but it was paved at some point. But as it began to get potholes, the logging companies were not filling it in with asphalt. They were just filling it in with dirt, using graders to flatten it out, ripping up the asphalt, shredding it into smaller and smaller pieces. So that's why it looks like a dirt road. It's all broken asphalt in most places. Every now and then we'll go back and forth to a couple patches of solid asphalt. Right here, when it rains, you can see a lot of rapids come down. It's heavily eroded. Very heavily eroded right here. Big ruts all over the place. But as soon as we get to the bottom of this hill, it stops for quite a while. give it another mile or so, maybe 2 miles. We go into an area where they're actively logging once we go through a fork. The road right now is in good, wide condition, but down there it's so narrow you would not want to encounter a log truck. Hopefully they're driving slow. There's a lot of times log trucks, they're just hauling so fast through the woods. You just don't want to be near them. So all this stuff is just abandoned because at the time it only operated for 7 years after being built in 1954. Well, construction started in 1954. It operated for 7 years and then it shut down in 1964. It was obsolete. All these things were built for the Cold War and nuclear threats. Road's very nice now, very smooth. Considering this whole drive out here is very good. I've seen some people's videos of this place just 5 years ago and it was a lot worse. Like that area where we got to drive down into the water. It used to be a big steep drop off the edge of the asphalt, but I guess people going over it over the years, maybe intentionally smashing it, have made it smoother over the years going through there. Surprised I never knew about this place. It was very easy to get to it. Just connected with is a lot of active logging, so at any time we could potentially see a log truck. And then further up the road there's a small abandoned structure which I think may have been part of a dam at some point, or maybe a water wheel, something for making power. Very smooth road overall. I think by the color of it, it might have asphalt mixed into it because it's the same road. if this was ever paved, they did not rip it up. It just got broken into smaller pieces over the years. But also, it's been 60 years in smaller pieces. Technically, asphalt can't slowly biodegrade. It's just stones covered in oil. Sites that they're not using at the moment. Section of road here, the only thing I fear about is a giant truck that can't stop around one of these corners. That's why we got to keep it slow, keeping it at maximum 20 on these roads. Go a little faster on the straightaways. Oh, there's a trailer full of logs. Down here they're doing a lot more logging, it seems, although that road is very narrow, but you can tell it's been heavily traveled. Going over a bridge. Another abandoned road. None of them go very far. Soon we'll be out to the end of the road. It's about a 10-mile road total. We've been going for almost 24 minutes, and yeah. So if we're driving about 20 miles an hour and it's a 10-mile road, how long should it take us to get out of here? 20 miles in 1 hour, so it should take us like a half an hour to get out of here. If that's right, we should be out of here within the next 6 minutes. Certain parts of the road I was going almost 30 where it's straight. So with that logic, literally any minute we're going to hit the end of the road and be out of here because it's about 10 miles. We're right on the river now. It looks pretty. These trees will be turning nice fall colors soon. We're already seeing a lot of fall colors on the way up here. Certain areas, at least, are turning already. Right here to the left, see that? You may have seen there's like a little shack there. The way it's shaped, it was for water to pass through. It wasn't like a little building or whatever. It may have been part of a hydro dam, something like that. Not really sure. There's nothing else remaining anywhere near it. Staring at the river as we're driving by, I don't see any sort of dam or anything anywhere else. Just don't see it. So today we saw two people, one on a bicycle, one on a motorcycle going up there. But we didn't see anyone actually up there exploring when we were there. Just people on the road. place. I bet a lot of people would be there in the middle of the night or on the weekend. Today's a Thursday. Showing all those nails, I got lucky last time, because last time I actually parked right on top of all those thousands of nails in that area where somebody obviously burned them out of boards. Oh, 1 mile remaining, that marker just said. Yeah, luckily none of them were standing up. We never had a flat tire. Right here the trees are all starting to turn yellow. Temperature has risen up there. When we started driving, it was about 53. Now it's 63. We dropped exactly 10 degrees, or we gained 10 degrees just coming down from the mountain. It's always fun when you're driving up, especially a road that's familiar, to guess with people in the car, what's the temperature going to be when we get to the top or the bottom of this giant hill or mountain. There's a lot of places I do that. Certain roads I know pretty well. Try to guess what it's going to be up at the top. We just lost the river. It just took a sharp turn away from the road. So yeah, it takes about a half an hour to use this road if you're traveling it at about 20 to 30 miles an hour. We're about to get into some houses that are on the very end of the road. A mile is only so long. Yep, I already see a house way through the trees there. That's accessible from another road, I think. It said we were in the town of Granby. We just went into Victory. We just went over the town line. Here's like a little information board. No one's coming. Let's see. What does this thing say? You know what it says? At landowner's request, no ATVs, no motorcycles or 4x4s allowed. That's heavily grown in. I didn't even see that on the way in. But obviously nobody listens to that sign. I think that might mean not on the main roads. I'm not sure. Because that's put there by the logging company. That's not put there by the owner of that base. That base is in private hands, by the way. The guy wanted to make it into a wind farm, but he could never get the proposal together correctly, I heard. So the state kept denying it to be built. And I think it might be for sale again, that whole property up there. It's a very beautiful property, but it would cost a lot to get rid of that debris up there. All those dangerous buildings. I think that would actually be super cool to like try to preserve the one massive structure up there, because it's not in that bad a shape. If you put a roof on that, it would stop all the decay, because everything else, the staircase, everything in there it's structural, while most of the smaller ones are not so good. This whole area here smells like pot coming down here. We got a little bit of pavement, but we're going to switch right back to a dirt road. This might only be paved so the hill doesn't wash out. A lot of small towns will do that, and I've even seen a logging company do that in Maine. They'll pave it just because it was notorious for washing out during storms. Right back to the dirt road for quite a while. Or they probably just wanted it paved in town so it wouldn't be super dusty during the hot summers. And I hope today's video was interesting, everybody. Thanks for watching and have a great day.